Lexis has 14 compiled legislative histories on environmental law. To find them, first click Browse on the upper left-hand corner of the screen, then choose Sources, then by category, then Statutes and Legislation. Filter by practice area and topics for environmental law. And the next page you have links to the 14 compiled legislative histories on environmental laws. These are mostly CIS legislative histories which contain abstracts of hearings and reports and only limited full text. Click the I to find out who compiled this legislative history, or click on the title to select the database as a search filter or just to pull all the documents of the legislative history. Here's a listing of some of the documents in the legislative history of the Clean Water Act of 1977. The documents can be reordered chronologically or in reverse chronological order or by title. Use the search within results to find particular items. Westlaw has more than one source of compiled legislative histories. Access them all via the legislative history link in the third column of the Westlaw main page. Remember that material in this column is not searched in a Westlaw universal search, but must be selected prior to a search. The first collection is a set of legislative histories that was compiled by the law firm of Arnold and Porter. The link to this collection is on the far right under Tools and Resources. Here there are a number of major environmental laws in this collection, including CERCLA, SARA, and the Clean Air Act amendments of 1977. A second set of compiled legislative histories available on Westlaw were compiled by the Government Accountability Office from 1921 to 1995. Selecting this database takes you directly to an advanced search screen. To search for a legislative history by public law number, it is important to follow the instructions on the screen and type PL+2 followed by the public law number in the citation field. A search for public law 95-217, the Clean Water Act of 1977, retrieves two documents because this legislative history is so long. Both contain lists of links to the PDF documents in this legislative history. To search within the documents of the entire legislative history, use Search Within Results. PDFs that contain your search term will be highlighted in both of the results. Use Control F to locate instances of the search term in an individual PDF. The third source of legislative history information on Westlaw is the West publication United States Code Congressional and Administrative News, known as USCAN. USCAN is a print publication that preprints statutes at large and also highlights of legislative histories, among other things. You can search all of the legislative history and materials in USCAN by document types, but do remember this is a selective legislative history and does not necessarily contain a particular document type for any legislative history. To get all of the USCAN documents associated with a public law, use an advanced search. And put the public law number in the caption field. A search for Public Law 95-217 gets us two reports and the public law itself. Looking at one of the reports, we see the legislative history information that USCAN summarizes at the beginning of this document, and then we see the first of the two reports it has selected as a highlight of the legislative history of this act. Looking at the public law, we see a tab at the top for legislative history materials. Selecting that, we can see that the Westlaw Legislative History Materials tab for this public law has the two reports that were set out in USCAN, as well as the two-part GAO compiled legislative history we had already identified. Not all GAO reports are linked from this session laws, but many like this one are. So if you don't find it here, do a separate search in GAO.